Hello guys, so today I'm going to teach with the web APIs. So far we already go through the data access layer, model, and service. Now I'm planning to create a web API in order to call the service projects. Okay, let's get on to this solution and then go to add new project and go to, since it is in a web API project, so it's basically the C# and web and ASP.NET web application. So now you can choose that and you can name it like server info dot web API. So each individual project, so where I'm using the server info dot whatever the service, data access layer, model, or web API. So now select OK. And then I would prefer to choose the empty project and then choose the web API. I would think maybe some point we want to use the NUnits in order to test the web API. So maybe you can also add the unit project so that it creates two projects. One is a web API and other one is a web API tests. So now click on OK. Okay, all right. So now the web API is created and web API test. So now you could see in the web API, so basically for the routing configurations where we can set it in the web API config. So by default, they gave the default routing mechanism where the routing template is API slash whatever the controller name and any IDs that we are passing to the function. So now go back to this controller folder and add another controller. Since it is a web API, so choose the web API to controller. I usually prefer for the empty and then I can write for the read write actions. But some people prefer this one so that it already creates insertion, update, delete methods so that you can use either way. And I am creating this web API 2 and MVC5 is for the controller which is in the UI side. So for now we want to avoid those and only the web related APIs. So you can choose here and then click on add and give the server controller. So now we created the controller and that is inherited from the API controller. So now I would prefer to give the, I want to route prefix, which is API slash server, which is the controller name. This is the controller name server. You have to give that. And then if I go here, then we can write methods which are related. First, I want to bring the interface here in order to access all the methods. Let me go back to the interface, which is in the services iServer. Then since I need to reference, so what I need to do is go to the references and then add the service. Then click on add reference. Go to the project solution where you need service, and also I guess we need model also, since model is an independent project. So select both of them. So now you could see here. Now go back to this iServer and click control dot. It's giving the using server interface. And then svc manager equal to, and then go to the server service info server. Let's go back to the service class, which is a server service. I want to take this to create an object for the interface. Then now click on the control dot and it is inheriting from server info dot service. The interface is, we gave the dot interfaces. And now we want to write one public enumerable of server model. then do the control server model get servers, then svc manager. So you can call whatever we created methods from the server service class, which is get servers. Since this is list, you can use the list here so that it returns. And also you can use the route, which is a route, which is servers. You can name it as a routing so that you can call API slash server slash servers in the web API URL. And also maybe you can include HTTP GET just in order to getting the data for the GET. So this is for the retrieval, and then copy paste with we want to go with the server by ID, which is also I want to name the same name here, then integer ID. I would say ID. So server by ID, which is integer server ID. Since this is written as a single model, if you see here, there was a cannot implicitly convert type, which is server model to list of server model. You don't need a list since we are returning one single object. And this also you can call it as a servers. Anyhow, it is a slash whatever the ID that we are passing, so that you get the one single server. And then server create. So if it is a create and then click on here, create server, and then it is passing the server model object. So we can first take the server model server object. So I can pass this to here. Sometimes, okay, this is a integer conversion, so make it as an integer. Sometimes you may need a from body, since the data that you are passing, it has to convert into the server model object. So for that, I would prefer to use from body. And sometimes it may not required, but that's depending on how we are passing the data into this object. And also same thing for update. And then update server. This is also we are passing the server object. So the name is not matter here since you already have a route name, but I would prefer to use the same name whatever we are getting from the create server. Same thing for update server. And also for delete. So it's a delete and then dot delete server where we need only server ID. And also it is a boolean return. Use the boolean and integer server ID. So this is a pretty much we created the web API, and now we can build this project. So also in order to test, I want to use, let's go back, sorry. And I think this is still loading, so let's give it a second. And we want to test this one. So now let's make it as an set as startup project, and then click run. Since we use the routing, so you can take this API/server here, and then putting here, and then servers. The servers is one thing that we are calling for the get servers. Let's put the breakpoint here, and then go back to the browser and API/server/servers. Now click on enter. Now it takes you to this, and from here it goes to the service class, which is in the service project. So now it's running the table servers and get the data. Since no connection string was made, the app.config file, what we can do is now you can stop it here again, and then go back and take it from the data access layer app.config. So this is a connection string. So we want to declare that is in the web API, because since the connection strings mainly looks from the web API and not from the data access layer, since data access layer is uh, since data access layer is only the class library, the web hosting application is from the web API, so we have to use this, and then click on run again. While loading, so let's go back to here and then connect our server. And test DB. Then since we do not have any data here, I would think first I want to create another for testing. I want to create another server type table. Maybe I'll write one more method in order to get the data for this. So what I can go is go back and stop it here again for a second. And I want, because since we do not have a data for the server table, I want to test something real quick. So I want to use the server type, since we have the data for the lookup table. So what I can do is now again go back to the service and then go to the iServer. So let's take the list of servers and then copy paste with the get server types, server type model, and then copy this and go back to the service declaration, and you can put it here and then make it as public. Sorry, you take out the semicolons. And now this is a get server type. So what we can do is let's make it as server types dot select colon, and creating the object new server type model. So let's make it as a description equal to x dot server description, and then server type ID. Okay, now let's create the server type model dot to list and then make it as dot to list. Now go back to the web API and take the same method and then return with I think all the create, update and delete, make it as a post because we are posting the data, not the get. So sorry, I mistyped it while copying and paste. Now let's use the route server types HTTP get. So now return svc manager dot get server types. So now let's run the program and then take the breakpoint out since we are not doing here and we are getting into server types. Let's try now. Slash API slash server types. Okay, so no entity framework provider for schema specific is not valid since entity framework has to be added in the web API project. So now let's go back to here and then go to the manage NuGet packages and then browse the browsers. You can go to the entity, type the entity here, entity framework. So now you could see 75.3 million downloads and then now I'm installing again. So that way it creates the entry in the web.config file if you see here in this file and then make it as an S2 all. So if you go here, so basically there was an entity framework token has been created. Now you can run it again. Slash API slash server types. Okay, so this is a pretty much we are getting the data, so which is app server, server type 2 and type 3 and type 6 and 4. So if you go back here, you could see the whole data. So mostly it returns in the XML and you can also change it back to the JSON format. So whatever it is, for now I want to keep it this, but I will show you that how to change the JSON format also. For now, we just keep it here. I think so. Mostly at the today's session, I covered with the web APIs how to create the controllers and how to call the service methods that we already created by using the interface. And also we make it as a routing mechanisms by using the route prefix and route. And all the select data that we are using the HTTP get and any data that we are posting, so you have to use the HTTP post. And also if you want to test the web API, basically you can run this since it is running on the local port. Even you can test the post method, but if you want to test particular functionalities, you have to go to PostMan, which is which is already, it's a kind of like a Chrome supported web API testing mechanism. So, but you can install individual app kind of thing. So generates the Postman. All you need is make it cancel. Okay, so you have a new tab and then click on here and go to here and take the HTTP localhost where then API /server /server types. And then now you can turn it so it is loading the data. So now you could see this is a JSON format where it was converted into JSON. But it's all up to us, like if it is an XML, it's XML, and then if it is a text, it is text, and then JSON is JSON. So at the same thing, you can also post the data. Sorry, let's go back here since this is get, and then take the new tab, server, and post. All you need is you need to send the body, which is uh, you can make it as JSON object. So all you need is you need to take the properties, which is for the server, from the server model, go to definition. Let's make it as a breakpoint. We want to see that whether it is while calling, whether the server object is filled with the data. Go to definition. Let's make the server name server name. And you can see the JSON format, which is a double quotes and colon and passing the value. So we want to use the same thing. Let's make the server name and test server. And the same thing, like it's a comma separated. And then we are taking host name. Host test, an IP address. Mm, 100.100.100.100. Just giving and server type ID, which you can take it from here, the server type ID too, just in case. So this is all I will show you in the next session where we want to creating web API pages and views. There they can enter, users can enter the data and calling to the web API. For now, I just want to show the get and post methods in the PostMan. This is one of the type that you can use and um, testing the post methods. Where's type ID? Just go back here and let's look for the operating system stable and see the IDs. So you can pick either one of that since it is referencing. Let's pick one and it is the reference tables. So let's use the contact ID. And also this one is 2. Let's make it, let's go back and see whether it is 2 is already there. 2 records or the ID 2. Okay, ID 2 was there. And call out process. Server was down. Just I was typing something. Maintained by and XYZ. And last updated time 2019 09 a.m. Okay, now we can send the data, create server, then create, and then hit. See, there was entity media type text or plain not supported. This rate date. Results test. Okay, for now just leave it and then I will show you into the next session. Okay, or let's give me some time and hold on. Okay, I think I know what is the problem. So now you can go back and since we typed this HTTP post and the body, we select the raw. The raw has a JSON format. So earlier it was a text format that we saw. And then you had to change it to the JSON format. And that's the error that we are getting. So now you click on send. It will take you here and then look for the object data. So where you could see, and then now now you can go back here and then test it, and you could see here the data is available. The same thing for if you want to test the same thing for update, let's take the create and then go back and put the update date and then copy this, the same JSON object, and go to the body. Sorry, let's make it as a post. Then go to the body, click raw, then take the JSON. So here you need to pass the server ID. The reason why you're passing is you have to know like which record you are updating. So now test updated server. I'm just changing this and updated. So now let's before hitting go back here and here just keep the breakpoint and then click send. Now it is coming here, and then this is a server object where you could see all the updated data. So now F11 takes you to this page, and first we want to check whether the server object is available in the database. Now it looks like the data is there, and then we are updating it. So now it turned it. So now go back, it said 200K, so which is updated successfully. And then now you can click on here. You could see the updated servers and updated. And also if you want to test the delete, let's take this and then go to delete. Delete and then delete, let's make it as a 2 and then post. Now go back here then put the breakpoint. Since it is an integer server ID, so just passing as delete slash 2 is the parameter. So this is not found. Let's make it as server ID equal to 2. Now let's send this. Okay, so this is not update, so maybe we can change the name, but we are calling as a delete server here. So it's going back and checking, getting the object, and then removing. So now this is a 200K. Go back to the database and click on here. You see the record is deleted. I think pretty much I covered the topics for now until Web API. Now to run the Web API in the Postman. So you can go to the Postman and select the get for if you want to get the data, and also for the post if you want to post the data, like for a creation, updation, and delete. So for the parameters, you can make it as a question mark and the server ID. So it passes as a server ID parameter. So this is the pretty much done how to test the web APIs and how to create the web APIs apart from the data access layer model and service. Now in the coming sessions, we want to create as a MVC controller and views so that from the front end, from the front to the bottom, so you will get to know from the first to end how you want to test the applications while entering the data and deleting, updating, and everything from the front end. Okay, guys, I think we're pretty much done. Thank you so much, and have a nice day.